Okay, I was trying to see if it would play for me, but it did not. So I'm gonna see if I could pull it up on my laptop and take this in there with us, because was not originally the plan at all.
I had to put my back towards your closet, otherwise I'm gonna just like... They're like talking to me.
This is half of my collection. The other half is at my other house in a different country.
Since I'm on this non-materialistic journey, how can you put the Birkins just out on display like this?
What am I missing?
So girls, I thought we could keep
Big journey came in and she said hello to me. And she said, how are you? I consider this an apology. We'll move on. I had to put my back towards your closet, otherwise I'm
Sorry,
gonna just like... They're like talking to me.
This is half of my collection. The other half is at my other house in a different country.
Since I'm on this non-materialistic journey, how can you put the Birkins just out on display like this?
So girls, I thought we could keep the food light. I love caviar.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, you know how much I like to talk from my hair clips and all of that things, but I bought hair clips for everyone. Hair clips. Every time I wear them, somebody asks me. I need them too. So I have selected each.
I think she might have just posted it, so
So Mahira's.
I think I could just
Recently single.
go to Kia's page.
And it says two things. It says add me and no chance. If you see the guy
I don't know how to spell it.
add me, and if you don't like him, you're at no chance. That's you.
Subscriptions. And that'd be who I'm subscribed to.
So cute.
Of course, push present for you. Of course. Take me shopping and no chance for you.
Results are in. If you have not Habibi for you.
The most motivating couple. Find me a Birkin for the Birkin. It's good stuff. And I have Asme, social influencer.
So Habibi, that's good. I think she wants to fix things, and I feel like I just need to let go now. That's it. It's done. I think I've taught her a lesson. I hope so. What happened with your man when we left? He was really upset. I mean,
It's a lot for him. I think you guys could tell like that.
it's hard for a man to cry. When he cried, I
How
was
about if I
upset
just
also.
put in Mermaid
At
stories
home,
then?
He's cried a few times. Maybe it's the first time I see him cry.
It's really, really like heavy for him. And it's heavy for me to see him go through that.
But it's really hard for you as well, because you're between your husband and your best friend, and your business partner, and you're pregnant, and you have a lot of hormones.
Yeah. I'm stuck in between my life partner.
I wonder if I'm gonna do makeup like
And I'm also
mermaids.
stuck between my business partner and my best
I know
friend.
this is what she was
Right
watching, but
now,
this is what
I'm
I was
not thinking
talking
about the
about.
business,
So
I'm not thinking about anyone else. I'm thinking about my husband's well-being. It's not that I'm
You cannot tell me this is a human swimmer.
this is the one that
I
I
heard
was.
they talk about there's aliens in the ocean. It's time for me to tell y'all my story. Back in 2014, I was living in Kumasi, Ghana, but we took
Okay.
just like going, just trying to get back
It
to
went straight
safe.
back to
And
where
as
it
she's
was.
getting to shore, she says she feels something
But I'm gonna
soft,
start
like
it
this
over for
brush
y'all.
against her leg. It was so soft that she thought maybe it was a seaweed. Just keep going, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Then she feels something else, but this time it felt rough. She said she felt something scratchy on her feet, but she's almost at the shore. She's just going, right? Then suddenly something grabs her feet and yanks her back further into the water. So she didn't actually get pulled under the water. She got yanked.
Hey, yo, we
I
gotta
heard they
start
talk
over.
about there's aliens in the ocean. It's time for me to tell y'all my story. Let me tell y'all my story. So back in 2014, I was living in Kumasi, Ghana, but we took trips to Cape Coast, Ghana. Well, this particular time, I was the only one who wanted to go to Cape Coast.
If I could
with
hear
the
y'all
grown
could hear it,
folks. It was
I'm
my
sure.
professor and her two friends who came to visit. Now, here's the thing. Because I was the only younger person who wanted to go, I hung out by myself a lot, right? I didn't want to hang out with the elders. I love the elders, but I ain't want to be with them all day. I wanted to mix and mingle with the locals. attracted a lot of spiritual people. So it wasn't unusual when the Rasta came to me, right? He's Ghanaian. He's also a Rasta. Yes, Rastas exist everywhere. So he had his freeform box and all of that. And he comes to me. He's talking to me about spirituality. And we get into a lot of deep conversations. And it was beautiful. Sat down, ate together. We sat on the beach together and just talked. And no, he wasn't trying to shoot his shot. No, he wasn't trying to shoot his shot. No, he wasn't trying to shoot his shot. It was genuine deep conversation and no type of like inappropriate advances. Just real like brotherhood, sisterhood type of vibe. So y'all, as we get deeper into the conversation and we're talking about our various spiritual experiences and our spiritual gifts, he's telling me a lot about the different interactions he's had with spiritual energies in Cape Coast. And for those of you who do not know the history of Cape Coast, do your Google. But Cape Coast is where the castles are, and the castles are essentially the point of no return, right? So do your Google, do your research and all that stuff, but we're in that area, right by Elmina and all of the energy is there. The energy of our ancestors who were enslaved, who were stolen from the land is there. So he's telling me about all his experiences with that energy. Then the water starts picking up, right? It's getting later in the day, so naturally the tide starts rising, the water starts picking up. And we start talking about the energy of water. And then he's telling me about his friendship with the mermaid. Yeah. There's like a bunch of like rocks leading deep into the ocean. So he says at night he walks out to the rocks, right? He walks the rocks deep out in the ocean. And he points to one that's like way out there. And he's like, I like to sit on that one. And he's telling me how there's this mermaid who comes up and they communicate, right? Energetically, they communicate. She's not speaking English like, what's up, bro? But he's like, there's a spiritual communication. And any of our spiritual people who have spiritual gifts, you know what this is. He's talking about the energy that she has and how she is and all of that stuff. And he's talking about how essentially, like, she's sweet, she's kind, but she talks about how there are other ones who are not so nice. And he explains the reason why, you know, some of them carry different energies and different intentions. He's talking to me about offerings that he brings her and gives her. He's telling me what she looks like and all of this. And let's be clear, it's not what you see in Disney movies and all of that. His description of her is nothing like that. It's very much like her energy is beautiful, but I don't want to say too much. Just know her energy is beautiful, but she looks like a creature under the water. And the thing that he told me that made me not go back there with him is she was not born there. She became. She was an offering, and she became. Now, 1 + 1 = 2. And because 1 + 1 = 2, he asked me if I wanted to meet her. Now, at this point, this is 2024, it's 10 years ago. I was in my early 20s. I was a little nervous. I said, meet her. What you mean meet her? Meet her how? How we gonna meet? You gonna FaceTime her? What you mean meet her? He said, meet me out here tonight, and I'll take you out there. Tonight? The water is already rocking and rolling. Tonight? Well, what you mean? You trying to offer me up. You trying to put me down there. I didn't go. He knocked on my door. It was probably like maybe 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm not going to sleep. I don't hear you. Sleep. I don't know nothing. I don't want to meet him. But now I kind of feel like I should have went in there.
So y'all, I'm feeling the vibe right now as the sun is setting. Welcome forward to another video watching Mermaid, because I've been recently having dreams of being in the water.
I'm glad you
so,
didn't go.
You know, let's just get into it. Y'all know how I feel about intros. As always, if you want to find the creators of these videos, their profile is always in the corner of the video. Let's talk more about these aquatic recruiters. Okay, another story that I had saw on TikTok. I want to show y'all
link
that
it to y'all.
I'm
not sure if she's on TikTok,
but it's even more crazy.
She gotta be, because she just said TikTok. So
with the blue
I think that's where I discovered Kia.
A whole lot better. This story
And then I follow her on YouTube. I don't know if I found her on Facebook. I don't know where I found Kia at, but I follow her on everything.
So basically, homegirl said she was
And
always a
both
critic when it
pages.
comes to money. She never believed in them. She never had a reason to. And on top of that, although she grew up in the Caribbean, her family wasn't involved in any type of witchcraft, voodoo, or anything like that, or opium. So to her, it was like.
They say real Kia. I didn't know how to spell it, so the I comes before the Y.
She would become the black sheep of the family.
K-R-Y-A.
Because now she could never go back. So she said she grew up creative, like she was always dancing and like doing things within her community. She was always into the arts, doing dance competitions and all that good stuff. And she was also captain of her dance team. And at that point, she had already gotten into university. So she's 19, 20. So basically, one day after rehearsal, her and the entire
tomato scrub, but I actually scrubbed my whole body with it. I'm talking about it.
So they went down to St. Lawrence. And on top of that, it's a touristy area, so why would anything happen? So at this point, it's getting late, and everybody done fell asleep but her. So she decided to go take a walk down at the beach. And she said upon getting to the beach, she can hear this beautiful melody. Now, she can't tell where it's coming from, but it was so beautiful. She didn't even, like I said, he was never a believer of like the mystical stuff. So like she would have never chucked it up to it being Mermaid. So she assumed somebody from a distance because out there, like, you know, it's not like in New York City where there's buildings everywhere. You know, it's a pretty open space. So if somebody's playing music like at a distance, it's possible that she could hear it on the beach. She said that she couldn't even describe the type of music that she was hearing. Like it almost sounded like whales and like the most talented vocalist of all time doing the highest pitch note that she's ever heard. And the background, even though it doesn't sound like instruments, it almost does. And her, just looking up on her Chelsea just being so intrigued, is just standing on this beach, just vibing out. It's a good night. She's looking up. She can see the stars. Beautiful. Until she starts to feel euphoric, like she's in love. Like she feels like she want to start dancing to the music type shit. She said she started dancing like she going in. She doing her thing, winding her waist, doing choreo down at the beach, having a good time. It was just her on the beach, keep in mind. And she's like, she's having such a great time. She takes her hair down. She's whipping it. Like, it is great. She said the only weird thing was she felt like weirdly it was her dancing to something or to someone. And then suddenly she starts to feel watched. Like somebody got their eyes on her. And her being on the beach by herself late at night, she starts to look around feeling a little bit paranoid. She looks around, no one's there. So she's like, yeah, it's probably just in her mind anyway. The music is still going. This is a safe area, like. She said then suddenly the singing intensified. So it went from regular Ariana Grande notes to, I don't know, the highest note you can think of. And it was so loud that Chelsea had no choice.
I thought everything just went off.
And looked into the water. She says now she's looking into like ocean, like an open ocean. And she sees nothing. So she's just like, what the She says at this point her heart starts beating, and even though she's starting to feel uncomfortable at this point, she just did not have the urge to leave. And as she's looking out into the ocean, she gets the brilliant idea that she should just go for a swim. Maybe the water will help her shake off some of this anxiety and it'll be fine. She'll just walk back in and it'll be nothing. Again, she's a skeptic. She said takes her pants off and then she gets in the water. She said she gets in the water, she starts swimming around, dipping her head in and like, you know, getting her hair wet. My hair wet too for the occasion. She's like dipping her head, coming back up, and it's cool.
Her hair is wet for the occasion and it's cute and curly.
Is what truly scared her.
I would put y'all down there, but TikTok will
herself
flag me for tagging products.
What she saw,
And put y'all on the screen.
a million years
And then I don't
did
know,
she think
they might
that
flag
she
me
would
for
have
it being
seen that. She
pre-recorded.
says
So
she dips under the water, her eyes closed, and she opens them. And standing directly in front of her is a creature. And what she described this creature as is nothing like I heard somebody describe a mermaid before. That is if it was even a mermaid. Anyway, I hate to do this to y'all, but TikTok is not going to push my 10.
All right, let's get to part 2 because, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Back with a part 2. Basically, when Chelsea gets under the water and she opens her eyes, she says that she sees one of the ugliest creatures that she's ever seen, like ever. Even through like the movie depictions of these creatures, like she's never seen anything like it. She said that the skull was like really, really skinny, so it was like humanoid-ish. The hands, like the arms were extremely skinny. The fingernails were like really pointy and skinny. She described the skin to be green. And she also said that her hair was really midnight black and long. And from her stomach down were scales. So she says she gets up and tries to escape from the water at this point. So she knows that there's a creature right underneath her and she needs to get past the creature to get to shore. But she doesn't want to go back under the water to face whatever that one. So basically, she decided that she was just going to doggy paddle around that spot. And she said she's going, and she can feel like there's a bunch of whatever those creatures were behind her. She said she can feel them watching her, just like going, just trying to get back to safe. And as she's getting to shore, she says she feels something soft, like just brush against her leg. It was so soft that she thought maybe it was a seaweed. Just keep going. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Then she feels something else. But this time, it felt rough. She said she felt something scratchy at her feet. But she's almost at the shore, so she's just going, right? Then suddenly, something grabs her feet and yanks her back further into the water. So, she didn't actually get pulled under the water. She got yanked back into the water. And she says while they're pulling her, she's trying to fight and stuff. And she's like swallowing a lot of water. Water's getting in her nose. She's freaking out. Then she says once they finally stop dragging her, she said they get to a point and she stops. And at this point, she's just in the water, treading water and just like not knowing what to do because she tried to escape and like it just did not work. So at this point, like she says she had reached a level past freaking out to the point where at this point, she was calm, and she had accepted that she was about to... She said then suddenly, 3 of them pop out in front of her. And she said all of them, even though they had the green skin, all looked distinctively different. She said one of them had white eyes with no pupils. The other one had like bluish eyes, and the other one had like greenish eyes. But still, really skinny, green skin, and just really like imagine like just really creepy looking. And as Chelsea is just standing there accepting her fate, she hears a voice in her mind. And the voice said, "We're taking you somewhere special. There's a job to be done. And you've been chosen to do it." This story has so many twists and turns. Like it's not where you think it's gonna go. I know you guys don't like part 2s, part 3s, and part 4s.
We're going. We have to go. We cannot just sit here and just read this off like this. Like what? Bro, I'm interested. I'm intrigued because it's like
This must not be the same story because I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
Wait a minute, y'all.
So once the creatures said what they said to her telepathically, telling her that there's a mission and she's been chosen to do
I remember
it. And Chelsea
telepathic
recalls
mermaid
having
story.
questions at the time, but before she can even vocalize those questions,
And I've been
those
listening to her
creatures
too.
started swirling all around her, and they're going pretty fast, and
I
she
love
just
mermaid
quite dead in the
stories.
center. And as they're swirling around her, the singing would resume, but this time they're singing a very familiar melody. Chelsea recalls them singing a song that her grandmother used to sing to her to calm her down as a child. And Chelsea says that hearing those melodies and hearing that familiar song would put her into ease. And once she was at ease, she said she felt one of them grab her hands, and then they just started traveling underwater and through the water. She said they were traveling so fast that she didn't even really get to see what was happening around her until she arrived at this cave. She said in this cave, like there was like human skulls, there were like candle waxes, random human things like miscellaneous items, like a lighter, some gold and silver cups, and out of the cave emerges this mermaid. And she said for whatever reason, she could tell that that one was different from the ones who took her. She had this glowing aura. It is as though she was glowing in the water. It is as though she was illuminating so you could be able to see. She seemed like she was almost like a source of light. She said this one had scales leading all the way up here on her skin. All the arms were scaly, so they had scales all over. Again, long and matted hair. Her hair was pitch black, and she was also green-skinned. However, because she had all these scales and because she was illuminating, it is as though her scales looked like greenish and bluish. And then she had fins. And if you're wondering, Chelsea says that at this point, she is fully breathing underneath the water. She is standing there in awe. This lady told her that basically she was chosen for this mission. And she had a choice to make. She could either take the offer and go on and fulfill that, or she wouldn't accept the offer and wind up somehow back in bed and would not remember any of this. She says the offer goes as follows. They told her that her mission would be to catch cheating men, but not just catch them, but she would lure them
Definitely didn't hear
to
the story.
They told her they would grant her this power of undeniable beauty, sex appeal, great luck, and not to mention wealth and notoriety. Whatever she wanted, They told her they would grant her this power back in bed and would not remember any of this. She says the offer goes as follows. They told her that her mission would be to catch cheating men, but not just catch them, but she would lure them to their death. They told her they would grant her this power of undeniable beauty, sex appeal, great luck, and not to mention wealth and notoriety. Whatever she wanted, it was hers for the taking. However, all of that would be at the fate of a few unfortunate souls. Chelsea said, as crazy as it sounds, she actually thought about it. What do you guys think Chelsea chose? If you were given the choice, what would you choose? Okay, seriously, there's only 2 more parts of this story.
Rebecca. Why do you keep doing this to me? In these spaces, and then like we go somewhere, and then I just pull back into reality. No, okay? Oh my gosh, no, we gotta keep going, y'all. Let's go. There's duality.
This is why I love Kim.
There's neutrality, bad, good. It's all types of stuff going on in the aquatic realm. We just gotta like understand that they're not all good and they're not all bad. And you know, the story goes to show that sirens lure men and they, you know, do what they do. So let's just, yeah.
So Chelsea agreed to go with luring cheating men into their death in exchange for wealth, notoriety, and just having that je ne sais quoi about her that would just have people be attracted to her without even knowing why. However, Chelsea didn't account for one thing. I'm sure Chelsea didn't see her falling in love with one of the cheaters coming. Chelsea says after she makes her choice, they gave her this ring. On that ring, they told her to never take that off. Gave her the ring, sent her back to land, and told her that they would basically update her in the forms of dreams. So Chelsea came back to her friends like nothing ever happened, except when she came back, it was entirely the next morning. She came back to her friends panicking, looking for her everywhere because like, yo bro, where did you go? You were missing all night. And Chelsea created a lie. She was like, yeah, basically she was out at the beach. She saw a few people and then time passed by. She says her assignments would come to her in her dreams. And she says how she receives her assignments in her dream goes as follows. She would just have the entire dream all the way through, if that makes sense. So in her dream, she would be able to see exactly who she's going after, where they would meet, and exactly where to bring them. Imagine her seeing her future self going through with it. She says her first victim was from her school. She had a dream of her actually carrying out the act and, you know, sacrificing this soul. So she knew what to do. However, when was the right time to shine? Like, how would she go about this? She said actually everything happened exactly like it did in her dream.
I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to pause real quick because I had a quick question. How do they know which men to mess with? And that's the thing. Like, this situation extends to the abilities of aquatic beings, because how do they just, is there agents walking around, you know, not like, you know what I mean, not like agents, but is there like scouters walking around just like reading the energy of people who they, you know, want to bring to the ocean? Like, what? This is raising so many questions inside of my head.
Dude came up to her to speak to her. They got into a conversation. Remember the same melody that the creatures sung to calm her down when she was in the middle of the ocean? The same song that her grandmother used to sing to her to calm her down? That is the same melody or the same humming that she would use to lure these men and put them into trance. So, you know, this guy is like, yeah, we should go on a date. I'm interested in you. And Chelsea's like, that's a great idea. I think we should actually meet up at the beach. And he's like, bet. So the guy's like, bet, let's go to the beach, let's go get away. So they get to the beach that night and they do start chilling. I guess Chelsea didn't want to get straight on with it. It was her first time. She ain't never done nothing like this before. She ain't never sacrificed somebody before, so she had to take it slow. Then eventually she starts singing the melody, the song. She starts humming it and he starts going into this trance. And within him going into the trance, what happens is that it's almost as though they get possessed by something and they just walk into their... So she's singing and he starts to feel whatever it is come on him. Dude got up, walked straight into the ocean, jumped in the water, and swam as far out as he could. Until this day, no one's ever heard of him or seen him. And she said that was her first victim. And she said the amount of guilt that she experienced from that, she never wanted to do it again. She said she didn't know how to back out, but there was absolutely no way she was going to do this again. Until the mermaids did hold up their half of the deal. Now, she said before this, she was a relatively regular girl. Very much so, girl next door.
all of a sudden, she could have anybody she wants, man or woman. She just had this aura, this sense about her that was so alluring, that was so attractive. People would get lost in her eyes and wouldn't know why. Her hair grew extremely long and shiny, and she said that body yadi was tea. Never had to work out to obtain it. And then she said the manyan, the money, the bag was backing. She decided to test her luck and play the lottery. And guess what? She struck pretty lucky. She said officially after winning her first lottery, this is when it's catching up to her that the freaking creatures from the sea a few weeks back did tell her, like, you would be extremely lucky. So had she played with more money, she probably would have got more. Now, what do you do with this newfound luck, notoriety? And on top of that, you are kind of powerful. And knowing that these bitches can't fuck with you. So even though she did feel guilty about the first victim, it was really hard to continue feeling guilty in the midst of everything going so well for her. So after the first victim, Chelsea really started to wonder what would happen if she actually kept that line of service or communication with the creature. Things can only get bigger and better. And she said that she would continue to work with them for a long time without anybody suspecting. She got a visa so quick and also started traveling. So this was bigger than Barbados at this point, because she said she was being sent to specific other places to do the exact same thing. Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba? And of course, every great thing just kind of has to come to an end, right?
No,
and
she
it
doesn't
was
turn
all
it out.
crashing down when Chelsea believed who she believed was the love of her life. So it was a regular day, and she had the vision that she had to take this life, except this time something different happened, because she was speaking to him on his way to his doom, the beach. And when they got to the beach, the conversation just kept continuing. Now, Chelsea says that this guy, she could just tell. He was sensitive. He was different. He was sweet. He was a cheater, but he was sweet. He was asking her about herself. He showed genuine interest in the girl and getting to know her and actually wanting to build a genuine relationship with her, which became different for Chelsea at the time, because she could pull on anybody that she wants, but she would quickly realize that this is not actually a blessing as much as we think it is, because people are attracted to her for je ne sais quoi, which literally means I don't know why. So she would just go on to develop a lot of empty relationships. But with this guy, her victim, she's actually seeing depth. And like I said, at this point, Chelsea travels and does. So she is a few souls deep, okay? But there was just really something about this one. Well, she never disobeyed those creatures before, so what's the harm? And as they're sitting on the beach, it actually turned into a real life date. And instead of luring him, Chelsea did not. She didn't even sing to him. Instead, they ended the day with a kiss and plans to meet up again. But what do you think happens when you disobey the Marine Kingdom? This story is nothing that you would expect, okay? It's just so many twists and turns. Like, what? Just wait until you hear the next part, okay? So if you think we're not going to go to the next part, we're going. Let's go. Rebecca, you always get me with these mermaid stories. Like, every single time. Every single time.
You guys, I am so sorry. How's it going? Let's get into part 4, the final part. Sorry. So basically, she lures this guy to the beach thinking, you know, she has to end him. However, this guy is incredibly different. Asking her about herself, like he was very sensitive and nothing like the previous guys that, you know, she had to end. So instead of this date ending with her luring him into the water, this date actually ended with them sharing a kiss. And Chelsea never disobeyed before, so she's thinking this should be fine this one time, right? She had a dream that night where she was brought back to the water. In the water, she got confronted by one of those marine spirits asking her why she didn't give the boy up. So this is when she decides maybe it's a good idea for me to plead my case right now. She goes on to explain that this man is different. He is nothing like the previous guys that she had to lure into the water. He's sensitive, he's sweet, and she believes that he can change. And the creature is telling her, well, it doesn't matter how you feel about the situation. It's actually your job to lure these men into the water. So it's not up to you to decide whether they deserve a second chance or not. And Chelsea woke up, but Chelsea was still convinced that she knew this guy more than the mermaids who wanted him knew him. She saw the guy again and again, didn't lure him. And Chelsea will continue to have dates with the guy. Get this. On the beach. So one day, after one of their dates, he leaves and she stays behind on the beach. After the guy leaves, she's looking out into the water and she says suddenly one of them pops up in the water. And she says they're not even saying anything to her telepathically, they just stood there and stared at her. And suddenly, the creature just left. Now at this point, Chelsea says she's feeling guilty. She's feeling torn. She doesn't know what to do. And she doesn't want to lose any of the benefits that she got. Her beauty, notoriety, like, what should she do? So in that moment, she made a split decision to go into the water and just go after that creature. So she does. And she led her right back to where she was the first time they took her in the water. And the head mermaid, or the head queen, I guess, came out and told her, why aren't you fulfilling your duties? Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to do? And Chelsea will go on, again, state her case, and say that she's in love with the boy, he's different, he's sensitive, and she doesn't think that he deserves to be unalived. Now the creature says, who said we were unaliving them? Then said, some of us, we just need servants. You've been doing great. Why'd you stop? Then the creature reminds her that her loyalty should always be with the Marine Kingdom and not with humans, because humans haven't given her half of the things that the Marine Kingdom has given her. So now Chelsea has a tough decision to make. Do you want to go back with the humans, or do you want to work with the marine spirits? So Chelsea goes back, and Chelsea comes to the conclusion that, you know what? She's actually has gotten enough from the Marine Kingdom. I mean, she's in a completely different space in her life now. She's traveled so much. She has money. She has love. She has beauty, notoriety. She's good right here. That's what she's thinking. Yeah, I'm gonna just... And now I have the opportunity to have a boy that I like. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the humans. So Chelsea made her decision that she was no longer going to work with the Marine Kingdoms, that she's had enough blessings from them anyway, and it's time for her to walk away and go be with this boy. How do you break up with mermaids? That was some petty mother, because you want to know what they did. After she made the decision, Chelsea had a dream, and in that dream, that's when she basically stood her ground and says that, thank you for all you've done for me, but I would rather go be happy with my man. My man. And the creature said, are you sure? Because we gave you everything you have, so are you sure? And Chelsea loved this man so bad that she was sure that even if she had absolutely nothing, that he would still like her. The creatures then reminded her that he is a cheater, and your whole job was to lure him to us. He's in a relationship. How is that going to work? And Chelsea told them that he told her that he was going to leave his girl soon. It was only a matter of time until her and her man were walking.
Oh my God, girl! So you telling me, what she's doing? You know, we're just gonna like really acknowledge that. But you're telling me that even though like you like him, this entire time you turned your back on the Marine Kingdom, with somebody who already is in a relationship. So he's already in a relationship, and you think he about to leave the girl for you, and you betting everything that, all of your money, all of your beauty, everything that you received from the Marine Kingdom, you're betting all of that on this man who you know is a cheater, who's currently cheating on his girlfriend for you. Yeah, you can see, like, this is the thing when it comes down to play on intelligence, because some aquatic families know how to pick them. They know how to pick them, because at a certain vibration, that's the only place she's going to stay when it comes down to mentally reading the situation. They knew that with her mindset and what she desired, she would have said yes to this situation. They outsmarted her. They're using her. Some of the sirens are looking at this situation like they're basically using her, giving her materialistic things in her advances, and for these people that she's luring to the ocean to become servants. So they're looking at humans like they're nothing, you know, that they're servants, they're below them, because they can telepathically talk, or their ability to do certain different things is above the humans. At an angle, I can see why they would think that way. Well, some of them, not all. This is just a story about, you know, the ones who are using humans. This situation comes back in full circle for anybody who's being used for materialism, you know, because you could tell the user is basically looking at you at a certain level that you're not going to go beyond. All of this materialistic stuff it's not something that you can take with you. You know, like there are people who are here for their soul evolution, their experiences that's going to help them grow and become a better person. And there are people who are, you know, just into materialism or just like in a state where they need that and they're glorifying it. And that is their, you know, that's how they feel that they can reach happiness. My bad, y'all. Let me just press play. I'm over here forgetting that we still listening to the story.
Hand in hand, getting married. And she had to see it through. She said the creatures turned their backs on her and she woke up. And she says once she woke up, she just knows something was different. She felt different. Her body felt heavier. She said she got up from the bed and went to go look at herself in the mirror. And she said for the first time in a really long time, she did not recognize herself. It is as though she gained 20 pounds overnight. And nope, those pounds did not go to the right places. Not only that, when she got outside, she discovered that her car was broken into and people stole parts of her car, like her engine. Now she said she was never a saver, so it's not like she saved a bunch of money when she was lucky and when she had an influx of money. She could always just rely that something would work out for her and she would get money. But this time, she might actually have to get a job. But it's okay, because she has a man. She went to go meet up with him. They set up another date. She warned him that she might look a little bit different and that she's bloated. She's feeling sick. She went on a date with him and she said,
where that noise came from?
showing up. He had this look of disgust on his face. It's like he didn't even recognize her. And he said this nice, sweet went to go meet up with him. They set up another date. She warned him that she might look a little bit different and that she's bloated. She's feeling sick. She went on a date with him and she said, immediately upon showing up, he had this look of disgust on his face.
Okay.
It's like he didn't even recognize her. And he said this nice, sweet, sensitive, loving man just hit a complete 180. His entire demeanor towards her was different. Uninterested, unhappy, and quite frankly disgusted. It was clear that this man no longer had any interest in her. And she said in that moment, in that date, something got over her when she realized that she's just lost everything and that she's about to lose this man too. And it made her act out of character and get on her knees and beg this man to be with her. She said he pushed her away and ran away in embarrassment. And when she tried to return to the marine kingdom, no matter what she did, what songs she would sing, how long she would stay on the beach, or how many dreams she tried to have, or how many times she tried to return to the kingdom, he has been excommunicated, exiled, if you will. Because they made it very clear that they want nothing to do with her. Well, thank you. I finally finished Chelsea's story. And also, Chelsea was sending me these messages, these stories in different parts, too. So, okay? I have to scroll through so many messages to, like, find each story time. I really should be more organized, but that's not. Anyway, make sure you're following me for more mermaid content. Make sure you're following me for more spooky stories.
Actually, I kind of, you know, and let me know in the comments, what is the lesson with this situation? Okay, what is the lesson with this situation? Because what I'm picking up is that if you're not doing anything for your soul's evolution or your growth, or, you know, just being here and evolving, ascending, if you're doing things from materialism, where you left yourself and took a different route to materialism and staying on a certain level of consciousness and putting your energy and placing your energy, you still left yourself in that space. When she kept herself frozen in that moment where she left herself, the part of herself that was on the evolutionary journey of being a soul on this planet, now that the mermaids took every single thing back that they gave to her, she is now left with the piece of herself that she didn't evolve. So now it feels like she has to start all the way back over, and seems like she's right back where she started. And that's what I was talking about in the last live that I was doing. I was talking about how reality is your other half. The journey here is always you running into yourself and running into experiences that's going to keep you to evolving. And eventually when you've learned what you need to learn downhill, you'll move on to another experience. But in places where you decided to take a different route that is not of your most highest good, it's of your most highest good on this planet, not of your most highest good for your soul. And that's the thing. People feel like your ability to do something for your highest good of your soul and also be able to take care of yourself, they feel like that's not possible, you know? And they operate and they depend on materialism for them to be happy. And in the end, you never are happy in those situations because you still left yourself. You literally went separate ways away from yourself. So one self is stuck. That's literally all the sirens did. They stopped her evolution, right? I mean, she stopped her evolution because it was her choice. And where she's left herself, all of that stuff was accumulating. So when you feel like you're trying to work, okay, you realize that you've been on a materialistic, third-dimensional lifestyle. Now that you're trying to evolve and you're recognizing it, you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, oh my God, and you feel like stuff just keeps happening back to back to back. That's because where you left yourself, you have to now go through those experiences and hurdle through all of that, and you feel like you right back where you started because you've already experienced wealth. You've already experienced just doing all of these third-dimensional stuff, and it didn't fulfill you. So now that you're trying to find yourself, you have to hurdle through all of these experiences to find yourself, the experiences that you turned your back on to be materialistic. I want to say thank you to Rebecca for making this amazing story that's teaching a lesson and real experiences that's happening to people out here. From what I'm seeing with this story is that, you know, y'all got to be careful with these siren women and these siren men that are out here who are giving offerings to the sea. And by offerings, we've seen what that means. So I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I will see y'all on another one.
Oh, it all just connected. Originally, I did not get it, but now I get it. And I think I have literally just clicked on the other one, so I don't know if it's still in here.
Here's a video of a real mermaid that was caught on video by underwater camera in Australia. You cannot tell me this is a human swimming underwater in a mermaid tail. This is real.
Slow it down and play it back for me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to comment.
And in the comments, somebody said, ain't no human swimming without moving their arms. This mermaid is gliding. Welcome forward to another video. It is currently 10 p.m. and I'm trying to fix my resting schedule, my sleep schedule, because I said I was going to get up at 5 a.m. and record this video, but I know myself. If I'm talking differently, I just wanted to let y'all know I'm just trying to reassure myself that everything is okay and my resting schedule is not off because there are universal things going on right now. My resting schedule patterns is very irregular. I also wanted to let y'all know that this video is featuring my pimple. It's on my forehead, and if you don't give it that much attention, I promise you it will not bother you. Yeah, let's just continue with these mermaid footages and videos and just these story times because, yeah, I'm feeling watery right now. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, this is a legit thing. Anyone from the Caribbean or with a Caribbean background, like, you've heard so many stories of mermaids, so many different stories. There was one particular story my aunt told me about how she knew a guy that fell in love with a mermaid. Unfortunately, that guy is not with us today. She personally feels that the mermaids took him to live with, to live amongst them. So, she doesn't think he's dead, but he's definitely alive and well with his mermaid lover. Now, this was back before I was born, so I can't really give you evidence about something I wasn't even born. But she recounts how every single day, at the same time, he would go out to the ocean. He would go to the beach. Every day at the same time. She never knew what it was. She would ask him, but he would kind of, I'm just trying to clear my head. It's nothing serious. So she took it upon herself one day to follow him. So Auntie Josie followed this man to his destination that he always goes. And she said there was something weird about that particular day, like that approach. She said as she followed him, she stayed behind so that he wouldn't see her. So when he approached the ocean, he kept looking left and right, like making sure there was nobody around. And all of a sudden, he had this little shell that he blew into. And when he blew into that shell, something like the water started bubbling, like ruffling.
I feel like it's higher on that side, but I
And
don't
this
know.
lady appeared out of nowhere. At this point, Auntie Josie was like, "Yo, I can't be seeing this with my own eyes."
But you are.
So he's walking towards the ocean, towards this lady. And he's speaking to her like he's talking to a regular, individual. Like, "Hey, how are you? I missed you. Oh, you're so beautiful. I love you." Things like that. And in his hand, he had a gold coin. She said he flipped that gold coin in the ocean, and all she could see were like fins that was like diving down to this particular golden coin. She also believes that they have somehow had a child. Like, she feels that this mermaid got pregnant. So the guy's walking towards the water, and the water is getting deeper, like it's getting higher and higher and higher to the point it was up to his neck. And she said eventually his head was submerged in the water. Like, he didn't come out for hours. So she got impatient and she went back home. Now, she called a few people that she knew, and some people believed her, some people did not. And she said when he was at his home the next day, she asked him about it. Like, "Hey, what was this? I saw this happen. I saw you do this." She said that man's eyes literally was like big as the moon. And she told me that he grabbed her, like, "Tell me what you know. Like, what did you see?" And she said she was scared. She was like, "I didn't see anything. I didn't see a fucking thing. I didn't see nothing." And he told her, "Do not tell anyone what you saw." He knew that she saw something if she's bringing it up to him. She said she followed him one more time to the ocean. One more time when he least expected it. She followed him one more time. When he was at the ocean, he had a bag with him. And she said it looked like the bag had like clothing, like essential things that you need when you're traveling. She said he walked to the ocean like always, and he never came back. Never came back. She said she went to his house. She asked around, like, "Have you seen this person?" And he did not reappear. He has not appeared to this day. She really believes that, they were at the point of their relationship where he didn't need to come back to land. He didn't need to attend to his land life. So she feels that he has officially became a mermaid with his partner, with his lover, mermaid lover. One thing that really stuck out to me in her story, Naan's story, is towards the ending, she said
he
when
was
he was
a
walking
mermaid.
to the ocean, that one last time she followed him, he kept sobbing, saying, "Melanina, I'm here, Melanina. I'm with you forever, Melanina." And she said as he's walking to the water, he kept saying that until his head was completely submerged.
It's the reverse, Ariel. I'm very happy about that. That's a beautiful story. I don't want to hear nobody in the comments, and somebody already in the comments saying everyone is carrying a 4K video recorder, but no one has a clear video of mermaids. Shut up. We know they exist because everything comes from something. So anybody who got something to say about them not existing, this ain't the video for you. It's not. One of the comments
not the
said,
live
"My
for you
husband's
either,
uncle
'cause
had
I
a
love
mermaid
them."
lover in Texas. Appeared back again 30 years later like nothing happened and doesn't talk about it to this day." My dad had an uncle that said the same thing, but it was different. He said he was working on the moon and he would always disappear around December and he'd come back around March. Now, I don't know if he's going to the moon, wherever he went. He was talking about stuff that's happening, the technology that's happening right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm feeling real bougie today. I'm feeling real bougie tonight because I have everything together. My rest and my sleep pattern is A1. I can get this rest. And I can get up at 5 a.m. It's 10 p.m. right now. I can get up at 5 a.m. like it's nothing. Yeah.
We're back with more crazy mermaid stories. And this one is wild. So let's talk about it. Mario Marino, which is known as Cantinflas, was an extremely popular Mexican comedian and actor. But not only was he extremely popular and wealthy and just well known all over Mexico, he had an unusual obsession with mermaids, y'all. Like, obsessed to the point where he wanted a mermaid to be his wife.
I always think about him when I hear men
so legend has it, one night he
mermaid
was on a
lovers.
boat or on a ship or something, and he was just out there enjoying his quiet time.
My first
And he
thought.
heard some type of enchanting, soothing song that instantly had him mesmerized. And when he looked out, it was some mermaid song. But it was no coincidence that these mermaids basically came out there where he was. Rumor has it that they basically chose him for a reason, simply because of his influence and his popularity. Like, y'all gotta think, these are ancient creatures. They've been around forever and they know everything. So they basically used them to, be the voice and to put out certain messages. They said he put a bunch of different, like, hidden little stuff in some of his scripts. So after that, he allegedly reached out to some mysterious man, y'all, and he told him about his obsessions and his wish to basically be in cahoots with these mermaids and that he want to be around them and marry them. So I'm assuming he was some kind of witch or some type of man that does magic. So what he did was he told him to get this home on the beach in Acapulco, and he also told him to get this statue of himself and have it facing towards the ocean, y'all. So this is like the real statue that is at his home. And he also had to place different, like, marine spirits and these mermaid statues all around his home as well. And this is a better look at his home as well. You can see how, like, he has all these different pools, which are saltwater pools connected to the ocean, so the mermaids can have access to come in. And rumor has it he used to have these elaborate parties, and the mermaids would be the guest of honor. They would literally come and visit him basically every night. And now rumor has it that these mermaids come every night around 2 or 3 a.m. and parlay around his statue looking for him because he's passed away. And some say in the middle of the night, you can see his statue take human form and jump into the sea. And there's been lots of videos of people, like, posting up and camping out to witness, the statue supposedly turn into human form and go into the ocean. There's also rumors that he had a girlfriend that was a mermaid as well. This whole story was absolutely crazy, but it's very true, y'all. This man had a complete obsession with these mermaids, and he supposedly made a deal, and he was connected with them for life. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, or if y'all heard anything about it, because this story is very wild.
I just want to say, making a statue of yourself while you're alive, that has to be some type of ritual. That statue, he probably put some of his essence in that statue. I said it, and we gonna move on.
So in this video, the woman proceeds to talk about how a woman came into a bar, and the woman was explaining how a mermaid came and killed her husband. And she proceeds to say how mermaids are real, how they look like you and I, how they look human-like, and how they walk around like you and I. Mermaids, I feel like there's so much evidence that proves that mermaids exist. Even when you look in ancient India, they talk about how mermaids existed. I think it's such, it's such an intriguing topic that most people can't quite grasp it. But it goes into...
So, this is the first time I've heard, like, I've had a theory that they come out of the ocean and sometimes they walk around. In that TV show that they made that's called Siren, I was obsessed with it. I liked it. I watched the full season, back to back. The mermaids could come on to land, but the longer that they stayed on land, the more dry their skin got. And it looked like
Tideland stuff.
And the people who had the mermaid genes, who were still humans, they had eczema and they had, like, skin that would dry up. It reminds me of this video I saw. Let me show you.
This lady has been living in the lake for 25 years, earning her the name of the Indian Mermaid. Some people of her village believe she's a supernatural spirit who's living among humans. Her family visits her daily to keep her company and bring her food so she can eat. But why is this 70-year-old woman doing this? Sadly, it's the only relief she can get for her skin disease, which causes her skin to sore, shed, and become unbearably itchy. Rhonda is unable to afford treatment due to her poverty, so every day she sits in the lake until the sun sets and comes back to do it all again once the sun rises.
See what I mean? Yeah. Okay. And did y'all know that the movie Moana is actually based off of a mermaid? That's why she had that connection with that water, and that's why that water, she was able to talk to it, and it was interacting with her, like it was interacting with her grandmama that had the blood, and she turned into A stingray?
I plead the blood, Lord.
Yeah, listen to it.
Let's talk about the Hawaiian mermaid. Her name is Moana Nui Ka Lahua. And that name sounds familiar, right? Now let's talk about it. Moana was the water goddess of the Hawaiian Islands. And the Disney film Moana is based on this Polynesian legend. And Moana guards the waters of the Hawaiian island with the help of these two shark gods. Not like the pig and the rooster on the movie that helped Moana. But according to some legends, Moana appeared as a fish. In other legends, she was half human, half fish hybrid. So in other words, a mermaid. And she had the power to summon storms whenever she wanted. And according to legend, she wasn't always the well-mannered goddess as depicted on the Disney film Moana. Like many other mermaids and goddesses, she could be mischievous and playful. But however, there was one guy who could catch Moana, and that was Maui. And in the real legend, Maui is who killed Moana. Maui was a fisherman god, and one day she found him basically fishing in her realm and territory. And when she discovered that, she was basically pissed. So what she did was she took his magical fishing hook, and she basically placed it under this big rock, which pissed him off. So as revenge, he caught her and dragged her to shore. And that's when she dried out and died, because she is a big mermaid and she needs to be in the water. But it was said that Maui was a trickster god as well, and he wasn't going to take Moana stealing his fishing rod lightly. However, in the legend, it states that he still respected her, basically buried her body and built a shrine in her honor. And where he buried her, allegedly, this very sacred tree in Hawaii grew in that place. And the actual place Maui in Hawaii is supposed to be named after the god Maui. And that is the true legend of the Hawaiian mermaid goddess Moana. And I also found it crazy how basically Disney took this and made it into a movie based off this beautiful woman that was obsessed with the water. And they basically just did their own twist to it. But yeah, a lot of people didn't know that this Disney movie was based off a real Polynesian and Hawaiian legend. But stay tuned for more about mermaid stories and tales across the globe. And don't forget to...
I keep thinking that the video just be stopping every time I don't hear something.
Off of the stories, the legends, they monetize off of the stuff that's actually happening, the magical beings that we are. They monetize that and tell us that we're just human and we're not magical. I'm done. I'm just really trying to have my persona of having everything together. You know, just bear with me. This is how I keep myself. And I also wanted to say before we move on to the next video, Kennedy Jack, keep doing your big one on these mermaid stories because I'm really loving it. You know, us as, you know what we are. You should be able to find her YouTube channel if you just look it up. I love it. Much success to everything that you create.
Absolutely. This is the
shout out to Real Kia. That's who I'm watching. And obviously, if you go watch the video, you'll be able to see.
All of those creators. Keep in mind that my uncle is my father's half-brother. They share the same dad but do not have the same mother. So this would have happened to my uncle's great-great-grandmother. We'll call her Mary. So Mary would often go to this body of water to fetch water. And mind you, she would go often and nothing would ever happen up until this one time. So Mary went, as regular, put her bucket down and starts filling it up. Until she starts to hear singing and sirens. But this is broad daylight, so where is this coming from? So Mary starts to look around, just trying to figure out where the singing is coming from. Then the singing just kind of intensifies. So really, now at this point, she kind of gets this feeling in her body that she has to go towards the singing. So Mary drops the bucket, gets in the water, and just starts swimming away. Just, I guess, trying to get closer and closer to the beautiful melody that she was hearing. So when she finally gets to a point, she stops and she looks back and realizes she is quite literally almost in the middle of this body of water. So as Mary realizes that she is dead in the middle of this body of water, she starts to realize, okay, well, maybe I should make my way back to shore. So as Mary starts swimming and making her way back to where her bucket was, she suddenly feels something grab her feet suddenly and yank her underneath the water. So within everything happening in fast motion, Mary would freak out. Mary would freak out and just starts to fight whatever it was around her. Keep in mind, Mary wasn't fighting one creature off of her. She was actually fighting multiple creatures off of her. And Mary recalls, as she's fighting for her life, it is
Stay tuned for another part on another day.
because she can almost hear them tell her, calm down, relax, stop fighting.
I think I can literally share the two that I
Now, Mary
watched
realizes that within all of this tussle, that somehow she was still
to
able
my
to breathe.
community
So
on
some
YouTube,
way,
because you can
somehow,
like share
Mary was
videos on
able to calm
YouTube.
herself down
There's like a whole
and
like
look around
board
her
that
and
we
see that
have.
she was actually
So
surrounded
definitely just
by
click the link
4
in my
sea
bio for my
creatures.
YouTube channel,
And
and
these
I'm
sea
gonna
creatures,
just
when
go
Mary
over
would
there
come
and
back to
share
talk
them
about her
if you want to go and
experiences,
finish
she
the
described them as
mermaid
being
video
half
or
human
see the
and
one that
half
we watched the
fish.
first time,
So after
or
Mary
just
comes
watch them in
down
general,
into
because all you could do was hear
her
it from
time,
here.
she has a
But
job to do.
thank you guys for joining
So it's time to
me
get started on her
for a
training.
little
Mary
makeup and mermaid time. I'm gonna go
because like this is wild.
shoot some content real quick, and then we're gonna build my vanity. Hopefully, if we don't do that, we're gonna hook up my. No, we're definitely gonna build the vanity first, and then hook up the pump up the volume, pump up the bass. Hook up my washer and dryer. But thank you guys again for joining me. I'll see you later. Love you. Bye, everybody.